Henry Longueville Mansel, 1820–1871, was a British philosopher and theologian who left an indelible mark on discussions of human reason, metaphysics, and religious thought. A contemporary and critic of thinkers like John Stuart Mill, Mansel was profoundly influenced by Immanuel Kant's work on epistemology and the limits of human cognition. His most famous work, The Limits of Religious Thought, 1858, argued that human reason is fundamentally incapable of grasping divine truths in their entirety. His philosophy remains relevant in today's world, where scientific rationalism and religious faith often clash. Mansel's insights offer an alternative approach, an acknowledgement of the limitations of reason, the necessity of faith, and the importance of intellectual humility. In this exploration of his life lessons, we'll delve into the key ideas that shaped his philosophy and their enduring significance. 1. Accept the limits of human reason. One of Mansel's core beliefs was that human intellect is not infinite. He argued that just as our physical senses are limited in perceiving reality, so too is our reason constrained when trying to comprehend the absolute or the divine. His philosophy aligns with Kant's idea that the human mind can only grasp phenomena, the world as it appears, but not noumena, the world as it is in itself. Understanding the limits of human reason doesn't mean rejecting knowledge but recognizing its constraints. This awareness fosters intellectual humility, encouraging individuals to avoid overconfidence in their understanding of complex issues, whether scientific, philosophical, or theological. It invites us to question our assumptions and remain open to perspectives that challenge our views. In today's context, this lesson applies to debates between scientific materialism and spiritual perspectives. While science has made tremendous strides in understanding the natural world, questions about consciousness, morality, and the existence of God remain beyond empirical validation. Mansel's philosophy reminds us to be wary of intellectual arrogance and to remain open to the unknown. 2. Faith fills the gaps where reason falls short. Mansel believed that since reason cannot fully comprehend divine realities, faith must play a crucial role in human understanding. He rejected rationalist approaches to religion that attempted to define God in purely logical or philosophical terms. Instead, he argued that religious belief is not something that can be fully grasped through intellectual means but must be experienced and accepted as a fundamental aspect of human existence. Faith is often misunderstood as blind belief, but Mansel saw it as a necessary complement to reason. Where empirical evidence is lacking, faith provides a way for individuals to navigate uncertainty and find meaning. This lesson applies not just to religion but also to human relationships, ethical convictions, and even scientific exploration, where leaps of faith are sometimes required to make progress. This perspective is valuable in a world that often demands empirical proof for everything. Not all truths can be measured or logically deduced, some must be felt and lived. Whether in personal relationships, ethical convictions, or spirituality, faith remains a necessary component of human life. 3. Skepticism is a tool, not a destination. While Mansel acknowledged the importance of questioning assumptions, he did not advocate for radical skepticism. He believed skepticism should serve as a means to refine and strengthen one's understanding, not as an end in itself. He criticized philosophers who used skepticism to reject all religious and metaphysical claims without offering alternative solutions. Skepticism is valuable when it promotes critical thinking and prevents dogmatism. However, excessive skepticism can lead to intellectual stagnation, where nothing is ever accepted as true. Mansel's approach encourages us to use skepticism constructively, to challenge ideas, test beliefs, and seek deeper truths without falling into perpetual doubt. In contemporary discussions, this lesson is vital. It is wise to question political rhetoric, media narratives, and even scientific claims, but skepticism should not be used as an excuse for nihilism or cynicism. Instead, it should be a tool for deeper exploration and greater understanding. 4. Beware of over-reliance on logic in ethics. Mansel was critical of attempts to apply pure logic to morality. He believed that moral truths are not always reducible to logical formulas and that ethical decisions often involve elements beyond rational calculation, such as intuition, tradition, and emotional understanding. Ethical dilemmas often require more than logical reasoning; they demand wisdom, compassion, and empathy. Moral issues such as justice, duty, and virtue cannot always be decided through rigid logical frameworks. Mansel's lesson urges us to recognize the limitations of purely rational ethical theories and to incorporate human experience and values into moral decision-making. In today's world, artificial intelligence and utilitarian ethics often seek to systematize morality into rules and calculations. However, Mansel's insights suggest that ethics cannot be fully captured by algorithms. The complexity of human experience requires a moral framework that accommodates both reason and the ineffable aspects of human nature. 5. Religious truths must be lived, not just debated. Mansel criticized purely intellectual approaches to religion that treated faith as a set of abstract arguments rather than a lived experience. He argued that religious beliefs should shape one's life and actions rather than remain mere objects of debate. Faith is meant to be transformative. It is not enough to merely discuss religious doctrines; they must be internalized and applied in daily life. This lesson reminds us that true spirituality is demonstrated through actions, ethical conduct, and personal growth rather than theoretical discussions alone. This idea resonates with modern discussions about spirituality versus institutionalized religion. Many people today seek direct spiritual experiences rather than theological debates. Mansel's philosophy suggests that true religious understanding comes not from proving doctrines but from living them. 6. Philosophy should serve a practical purpose. Mansel believed that philosophy should not be an abstract intellectual exercise but should contribute to human understanding in meaningful ways. He criticized philosophers who engaged in excessive speculation without practical application. Philosophy should guide real-life decisions and inspire individuals to live wisely. Mansel's critique of overly abstract speculation encourages us to seek knowledge that improves our lives rather than indulging in theoretical discussions with no practical impact. This lesson is especially relevant in academia, where complex philosophical debates can sometimes feel detached from real-world concerns. Mansel's approach reminds us that the ultimate goal of philosophy is to provide wisdom that enhances human life. 7. Respect tradition without being a slave to it. While Mansel was deeply rooted in religious and philosophical traditions, he was not opposed to intellectual progress. He believed that tradition should be respected but not blindly followed. Tradition carries the accumulated wisdom of past generations, but it must be examined critically. The best approach is to preserve valuable traditions while allowing for evolution and growth. This balance ensures that we do not lose touch with our heritage while still embracing progress. In modern debates between conservatism and progressivism, this lesson holds great value. While it is important to honor the wisdom of the past, it is equally important to adapt and grow with new insights. 8. The danger of oversimplification in philosophical thought. Mansel warned against reducing complex ideas into overly simple explanations. He believed that both theological and philosophical discussions require careful nuance, as reality often resists simplification. Oversimplification leads to misunderstanding. Whether in politics, ethics, or religion, people often seek clear-cut answers when reality is far more intricate. Mansel's warning applies today, as social media and modern discourse favor bite-sized conclusions that ignore depth and complexity. His lesson encourages patience in understanding and accepting ambiguity where necessary. 9. Intellectual humility is key to growth. Mansel argued that acknowledging the limits of human reason fosters humility. He rejected the idea that individuals or institutions could claim absolute intellectual authority over complex metaphysical or theological matters. Admitting what we do not know is the first step toward deeper wisdom. This lesson applies in academia, religious faith, and everyday life. Intellectual humility encourages ongoing learning, dialogue, and openness to new perspectives. In a world where people often argue from positions of certainty, embracing humility allows for growth, cooperation, and deeper understanding. 10. The quest for truth requires both rational inquiry and spiritual reflection. Mansel believed that truth-seeking should not be limited to empirical analysis but must also include moral and spiritual reflection. He argued that reason alone is insufficient for answering life's deepest questions. A well-rounded pursuit of truth involves both logic and introspection. Whether exploring philosophy, ethics, or theology, relying solely on reason can leave important dimensions of human experience unexplored. Mansel's insight reminds us that true wisdom integrates both rational thought and personal reflection, creating a fuller, more balanced understanding of life. Conclusion: the enduring relevance of Mansel's philosophy. Henry Longueville Mansel's philosophical insights remain profoundly relevant in the 21st century. His emphasis on the limitations of reason, the necessity of faith, and the balance between skepticism and belief offers a framework for navigating today's intellectual and spiritual challenges. His work reminds us that true wisdom lies in recognizing the boundaries of human understanding while remaining open to the mysteries that lie beyond. In an age where certainty is often prized above all else, Mansel's philosophy offers a refreshing reminder that embracing uncertainty can lead to deeper faith, greater humility, and a more meaningful life.